from the Fans Talk Podcast family at fanstalkpodcast.com. This is episode 25 of Fans Talk Lucha and covers Lucha Underground Season 1, Episode 35, which aired on July 8th, 2015. My name is Garvin, and with us is El Jefe herself, my wife. Say hello, wife.
It's about time you admitted that I'm the boss.
Now, before we begin, I just want to thank everyone who has stepped up over the last few weeks to become official members of the Fans Talk community. To become a member, all you have to do is subscribe to patreon.com/fanstalk. And for really as little as $1 a month, you are showing us that you value the time that we have together, that these conversations that we have, both, you listening and us talking with you on YouTube or wherever you are. It also gives you access to, some bonus content. There are 2 other podcasts that we do. And, we do release some bonus content through that. And we also have early access to shows just like this, so that you can get it before it shows up on YouTube, before it shows up in the podcast feed. So, again, all that stuff is over on fanstalklucha.com if you want to, join us over in the Fans Talk community.
Drunky.
I'll be able to do these intros well at some point. All right, so let's go over what took place this week on Lucha Underground. We started off. It was sort of like a backstage, maybe, or I think it was just a video package, maybe with Pentagon Jr. and his ninja style lair, and he is basically he's talking to his master. His master has like that Super Shredder style voice. But you don't see him. You just, I don't know. To me, I got the impression that his master was like this huge, humanoid, maybe. I don't know.
I got the impression that his master was Kevin Nash, and that would be sweet.
No, that would not be sweet, but, I get what you're saying. Also, he said that he does plan on making a sacrifice, but his sacrifice was going to be Ian Hodgkinson.
Who the hell is that?
I'll explain later. So, moving on from that, we have our first match. So this is the Mac versus They Call Him Cage. What'd you think about this match?
Well, when they introduced Cage, they said from his head to his toes, he's a machine. He's conniving and evil. And what this makes me believe is that the announce team is just as afraid of robots as I am.
Yeah.
That validates my fear.
Yeah, it's weird. You know, they talk this guy up. I mean, they say he's basically the best of the best. He has proven to them that he should be feared, that he's that dominant. But I gotta say, like, how many matches has he won?
Yeah, there's that.
So I want to agree that, yes, he's probably pretty dominant, but in reality, he's losing matches. You need to win. He lost in the Trios Championship. He lost, after that. He lost before that. He's just losing all over the place. Sure, he doesn't look as pathetic losing as Son of Havoc was, during Son of Havoc's losing streak, but still, it's like, I don't know. There's just this disconnect of what they're selling and what we're actually getting with him.
Maybe he needs to go see the wizard, and the wizard can give him a heart, and then he'll win some matches.
Maybe that's all he needs. All right. So backstage. Wait, before that, did you say what you thought about this match?
Oh, I guess I didn't. I expected a lot because I really like both Mac and Cage. They were both so light on their feet for such big guys, but this match to me just seemed more brawler style than what we typically see out of them. And I was a little disappointed.
Yeah, it was odd. You're right, because it's, what we and don't get me wrong. I mean, we did see some more acrobatic moves from them, so it wasn't straight brawler versus brawler, but yeah, they did adjust the fighting style so that it was this big guy versus this big guy instead of, the Mac surprising us because he can fly through the air or, Cage doing the same thing.
Yeah, it's a shame because they're both such great wrestlers, and I feel like they didn't use them to their best advantage.
But maybe that's, I don't know. Maybe that's all they could really do. I don't know. I'm just throwing
no excuses,
throwing excuses out there. But I'm just thinking like maybe they're not fast enough to get into the position they need to be in to catch.
I don't know. And maybe one of them ate some bad chicken. Regardless, it was disappointing.
So, okay, backstage, Katrina sends a message to Son of Havoc. She's basically saying that at some point soon, the Disciples are going to take the Trios Championships off of him and Angelico and Ivelisse. But that's not what he has to worry about tonight. What he has to worry about tonight is Mil Muertes, who's going to kill him. So, there's that.
He didn't seem too alarmed by this.
No.
Because, in the world of Lucha Underground, people are always getting interrupted in the locker room.
All right, so commentary really built up this Vampiro versus... Well, really, I say commentary, but I mean Matt Stryker. He builds up this interview we're going to see between Vampiro and Pentagon Jr. That was pretty much the build for the intro to the show. It carried on after the first match. And now we got to see it. And it was Vampiro interviewing Pentagon Jr. It was said to be explosive. Did you feel that way? Did you feel like it was explosive?
The impression I got while listening to it was the general tone reminded me of when you're a teenager and you've done something bad and your parent, which in this case would have been Vampiro, sits down with you and says, son or daughter, or possibly both, you've disappointed me and you're doing some things I don't approve of, but you remind me a lot of me when I was your age, which is exactly what Vampiro said to Pentagon.
Yeah.
And Pentagon, of course, reacted as you would have at 14 and lashed out at him.
Yeah,
I didn't think it was explosive. I thought that it was a scene that I have myself sat through any number of times.
Yeah, I can totally get that. And that's basically what happened. I mean, Vampiro apologized for getting involved because, he shouldn't have. He's a commentator now. He's not a wrestler. He has effectively retired. But yeah, then he basically talked down to Pentagon as
he poked the bear.
Yeah.
If he was intending to pacify Pentagon, that was the worst tactic. He should have just turned him over his knee and then sent him back to school.
So, of course, Pentagon Jr. challenged him to a match at Ultima Lucha. Vampiro says no. Pentagon Jr. calls him a coward. Vampiro goes off the handle and yells at him for saying he's a coward because he's not a coward. Coward he is not. I think is how he said it.
Yes, it was quite dramatic.
And, I thought it was, I don't know, it was kind of strange. It was like Vampiro saying, he's not this angry person anymore. And then it didn't take much for him to.
I believe what he said was, don't you talk bad to me. I'll get up and kick your ass right here, but I won't.
But that's not me.
Was confusing. All in all, though, as much as we're mocking it, I did like the interview. I think Pentagon is great on the mic. I love him on the mic. I love where they're going with this, so I did enjoy it.
All right. Mil Muertes versus Son of Havoc was our next matchup. What'd you think?
It was pretty good. You're waiting for me to elaborate.
Yes, I am.
I love watching Son of Havoc wrestle. And generally, I find Mil Muertes kind of boring. He kind of lumbers around like a bear. But today, I think he stepped it up. We saw some great moves out of him. It was entertaining to watch. And I loved the play they had on the sidelines with Katrina choking out Ivelisse. The Skellingtons came up behind Angelico and chumped him. I loved it. There was a lot going on. And I get the impression after watching this match, of course, Mil wins. That was the prediction. I get the impression that Katrina's really the one orchestrating the whole thing. It's like Mil is her vengeance puppet.
Yeah, I mean, they talk a lot about how men... And I actually don't recall who said this.
She said this at the beginning of this episode.
Right. So, yeah, men are all hungry for power. But yeah, I agree.
Katrina is super power hungry.
She has complete power over the entire situation. So yeah. If it's people that she's trying to bully, or it's the Skellingtons, or it's Mil, or whoever, she's the one.
Well, that's classic power control right there. Not only are you powerful because people are afraid of you, but the people who love you, you still have control of them too. I think that's great. That should make you nervous.
So do you think, now that we've said that, do you think that Mil actually has Stockholm Syndrome?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Okay. I think that would be an interesting twist if Yeah, she like forced him to love her.
Well, whenever they have a scene where they talk about how great Meal is and how he's coming for people, who's the one running it? It's Katrina.
Yeah.
She's the one who's tapping people on the shoulder and surprising them in the locker room. What's
Sure.
Meal doing? Rocking in a corner somewhere.
Yeah. He's looking angry.
Sweating in that black mask.
So, I made 2 comments. I wrote two things down, for this match. The first thing was Son of Havoc looked totally legit. Like, this guy could be a future champion. If you're looking at Mil Muertes as being the next challenger for the title and almost losing to Son of Havoc, I mean, that's a pretty big deal.
Isn't Son of Havoc already a champion?
Well, yeah, and I mean, top guy. Like, he could compete against Puma or whatever for the Lucha Underground Championship.
Yeah, he did look great.
So yeah, I thought this was a lot more, even. I was expecting to see just looking at how Meal has taken out, guys like Phoenix and, even, pretty much any of his matches before. It's always like this dominant thing. And Son of Havoc like stood toe to toe with him for most of the match. So, and then that brings up another thing. If Meal almost loses to a guy who's not even at Puma's level, theoretically, does that guarantee him to lose to Puma?
No, because you always have Dirty Pool. He does have a gang behind him.
Yeah,
Not that that's worked so well for the crew.
Puma's got Conan and his cane.
Yeah, and his old man hat.
Yeah. I still want to see Conan wearing like that full tracksuit.
Like the jogging suit, yeah.
Like light blue or something.
It's gonna happen.
All right, so in ring, when we came back from a commercial, we had Tejano basically standing in the ring and saying that he's not a nice guy. He's never been a nice guy. He's a liar. He's a cheat. But at the end of the day, he's Mexican, and that got the crowd the cheer. He calls out Chavo, and he wants to face Chavo at Ultima Lucha because Chavo is anti-Mexican, I guess, now. I think that's how it was worded. And obviously that rubs Tejano the wrong way because Tejano is Mexican, so.
Why are they arguing about this in California?
I don't know, because it gets more interesting because we then have, instead of Chavo coming down, we have the crew come down and we have Blue Demon come down. So the crew attack Tejano, Blue Demon clears the ring, and then Blue Demon attacks Tejano. So you and I made the same observation, I think, which is Tejano looks different. Like smaller.
Not Tejano,
Blue Demon looks different. He looks smaller, almost like a different build. So I don't know if it was just
it could have been clothing,
a camera angle
could have been
or something.
training.
I don't know if you guys had the same observation, but it did seem like it could have been Chavo. So that's what we were thinking. But at the end of the day, apparently it was Blue Demon Jr. So.
Well, and Chavo did have that leg injury, and the guy was moving around pretty well. But yeah, we thought it was someone else. We thought, why on earth would he side with the crew against someone who wants to fight his own enemy, which is Chavo?
Odd. Yeah, it seems odd. So basically, Blue Demon doesn't want Tejano to represent Mexico because Blue Demon is Mexico. So
again, they're arguing about this in California, which is ridiculous.
So at Ultima Lucha, as it stands right now, it's going to be Blue Demon versus Tejano in a who's more Mexican match. That's the unofficial name.
I can only imagine the number of ways this will go horribly, horribly wrong. I hope there's a citizenship quiz. Yeah. Like there's a writing sample.
All right. So main event, we had Team Alberto versus Team Mundo in an Atomicos match. So a 4-on-4 match. We had El Patron, Sexy Star, Aerostar, and Drago. That's the first time I've noticed Sexy Star and Aerostar's name rhyme. Then we had Mundo with Hernandez, Superfly, and Jack Evans. What did you think about this match?
I expected to hate it. Typically, when we're watching some kind of pay-per-view and you make me watch a bunch of guys versus a bunch of guys, I get very bored. There's too much going on.
But Sexy Star was there, so there was that difference.
Okay, a bunch of people versus a bunch of people. But what I liked about this, it was like watching a breakdancing circle. So you had the various wrestlers all kind of outside the ring, a couple would get in the ring, do their thing. It was very exciting, very fast-paced. And then they'd move out and other people would jump right in. So there wasn't too much going on. There was great wrestling. Everyone got to do, it was almost like a little exhibit. They did some great moves. And then they'd move on and you'd watch something else. It was wonderfully paced. I really enjoyed watching this.
Yeah, I mean, the patterns that were there aren't totally different from what you get in a WWE when there's a big match. It's just that with this, everything just seemed to work better. It wasn't to put over one guy specifically. It was to pretty much put over everyone in that match. Everyone got an opportunity to look good, which is really the opposite of how WWE books. Mm-hmm. Especially with like your 4-on-4 matches, it's to make one or two guys look awesome. But it built that feud between El Patron and Mundo, but it also built the feud between Drago and Hernandez. You had Aerostar versus Jack Evans. You had Sexy Star versus Superfly. Like everyone had that opportunity.
Everyone was invested
to progress their individual stories.
It was choreographed and filmed well too, though. I mean, I feel like in the past, I have a hard time seeing what's going on because their goal is to fill the ring with as many people as possible. We didn't experience that. There was one time when they were filming some people on the ground and it was a bunch of guys jumping on one, and it was a little hard to see the camera work, but all in all, they did a great job. Everyone got their time on camera and everyone did a wonderful job.
Yeah. So total props, to how that match was put together, to everyone involved, because I think there wasn't a single person that was on the sideline or not highlighted at all. Everyone got their individual highlights.
Drago did drop out. Looked like he suffered some kind of head.
Yeah. I would have to assume he has a concussion because it was a suicide, like, top rope dive to the outside, but he overshot, and I swear he hit head first into the ground.
We didn't see him again.
Yeah.
That was the thing.
Well, no, he came back. It was probably about 5 minutes later. But yeah, it was definitely apparent that he needed to sit out for a few minutes. So, I thought this match was good. I really enjoyed this for sure. After the match, we had more commentary, just kind of basically they were talking about that match. They were talking about Ultima Lucha, and then Pentagon Jr. attacks Vampiro.
Fantastic. Came out of nowhere. It was so well done.
Hits him with a chair, throws him into the crowd, and then pulls out a big canister of gasoline.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. So in this building where people can just wander in off the streets, where they have a back area, they keep their gasoline in what looks like it might have been Cueto's office. Why?
I think it was the opposite. I think it was the opposite corner, but yes, I agree. Regardless, it's like, why is it there?
It was 3 feet from the fans. Why do you have combustibles?
So he poured gasoline on Vampiro, and then he pulled out a lighter and took a mic and said that if Vampiro doesn't take the fight at Ultima Lucha, then his family, his children, and his fans are going to watch him burn. It's crazy, right? That's like...
Well, especially considering if he really wants to watch a vampire burn, he should probably just cover him in garlic.
Well, it's like 0 to 100. I mean, it's like breaking arms, burning a guy to death.
You wonder if he planned it like the night before and he brought the gasoline in.
I don't know.
It was odd.
Yeah. So, all right. Ian Hodgkinson. So, in the opening segment, Pentagon Jr. talks about sacrificing Ian Hodgkinson. Throughout the interview with Vampiro and that final segment, Pentagon Jr. was calling Vampiro a shell of who he used to be. He's not Vampiro anymore. And spoilers, I'm sure this is spoilers, because I wouldn't have known this unless I Wikipedia'd Vampiro because I wanted to see if he was still wrestling. And I don't know, I just wanted to learn more about him. So, if you should probably stop listening if this is a spoiler and I don't know it, but I'm going to say it. That's his real name. Ian Hodgkinson is Vampiro.
That's his real name. Yeah. I guess I just didn't expect the he's Canadian, right?
Yes.
The Canadian voice of Lucha Underground to be named Ian Hodgkinson.
Guess his middle name.
Aloysius.
Nope. Come on, be real.
Murray.
No. Richard. He's totally not a Ian or a Richard, right?
No, I don't know what I would have thought of him as. Maybe like a Jack.
Yeah. All right. That was Lucha Underground this week. Let's go ahead and talk about the best and the worst of it. So what was your win of the week?
Oh my God, there's so many. I don't even know. I think my win of the week was the way the matches started out kind of meh for me, and then they got better and better and better and better. And then at the end, I was totally surprised by Pentagon coming out. I liked that. As I watched it, I kept wanting to watch more.
My win of the week is going to be that main event. I definitely enjoyed the 4-on-4 match. I thought they did it very well. So yeah, that was my favorite match of the night. Fails. What was your fail of the night or fail of the week?
I'd say the first match because I expected so much out of it and it just disappointed me.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think that was my fail too. Again, it wasn't necessarily a bad match. It's just that, yeah, we expected something more from the two of them. It's like they went into, big guy mode for some reason.
Yeah, they were holding back.
All right, so we got a few more details on Ultima Lucha. Ultima Lucha is going to take place on Wednesday, August 5th. And I think we're going to do a special episode, maybe the Monday before, just to preview this card.
Predictions, maybe?
Yeah, so a full preview, predictions, all that good stuff.
Can I base my predictions on Murder, She Wrote?
Yeah, if you want to.
Like my WrestleMania predictions?
That would be fun. So here's the card as we have it right now. We've got 4 matches officially, 5 matches potentially. So here it is. Drago versus Hernandez, official. Del Rio versus Johnny Mundo, also official. Blue Demon versus Tejano in a Who's More Mexican match. A maybe, but it's obvious. It's obviously going to happen, and that is Pentagon Jr. versus Vampiro or Pentagon Jr. versus Ian Hodgkinson.
I can't wait.
And then we've got the main event, Puma versus Meal for the Lucha Underground Championship. Another potential match is the Disciples versus the Trios Championship, versus Son of Havoc, Ivelisse, and Angelico for the Trios Championships. You potentially could add some more people to the Blue Demon versus Tejano match, like you can add the Crew.
I'm sure Chavo will get involved.
Chavo is said to be hurt, but who knows?
We don't know the
extent. Who knows if that's true? But yeah, so maybe someone sides with Tejano. I don't know who would side with Tejano that's currently on the roster. I really don't know because maybe you put an Aerostar there. Maybe you put Sexy Star there. He did bring up Sexy Star. I think he did say Aerostar. So I don't know. It's possible, but I don't know. I think I'd rather see a singles match. But we'll preview that in full the week of. So keep your eye out for that. Final thoughts before we head out.
I'm just getting very excited for this final show. I think it's going to be great. I like that now they have solidified the chance that Vampiro is going to come out and we're going to see him wrestle. Yeah,
it's feeling important. And that's one thing that, if you look at, say a TNA or WWE, their big events don't feel like big events because they just don't build them well, like the week before or 2 weeks before.
Seems like they have a lot of them too.
Yeah, everything just feels filler. So, but this feels important. I think they're building it the right way. And yeah, we kind of need that big blow up, at the end of the series. So I think, this is going to be really cool. I'm really looking forward to it. And that's all the time that we have for this edition of Fans Talk Lucha. But the conversation doesn't have to stop here. You can join us over on YouTube, as well as Facebook or Google Plus or wherever you guys listen. You guys know how to connect to us now. But definitely talk on YouTube if you can. That's where some of the best conversations that we have with you are located. So and that's it. For more about us, you can check out fanstalklucha.com. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Adios.